Hi everybody and welcome back. Now before I start, I just want to issue a warning. This video is not a scripted one. So do not expect deep research or anything like that. And you might hear some awkward cuts because by the time it gets to you, I would have done some editing and may have had second thoughts about what I am about to say and may have cut it out. Okay, now why am I doing it like this today? Well, it's simple. I just cannot be bothered to actually script a video today. I am emotional, I'm angry, I'm irritable, I am flabbergasted. And why am I feeling like that? Well, because yesterday I, like many of you, have watched the transition or the procession of the Queen's body to Westminster Church or to Westminster Hall. And I also watched the proceedings that followed. Okay, I expected Harry to be in the procession, so that did not come as a surprise. Like I told many people on Instagram after Omid Scobie's tweet, I knew that both Harry and Andrew would be wearing morning suits with their medals and not uniform. Okay, so all of that went as expected. I also expected Meghan Markle to attend. I did. I told everybody so. I said she will be there. Okay? So that did not come as a surprise either. What did come as a surprise and what really irritated me, angered me, and to be quite honest, just plainly pissed me off was the fact that she was in the procession in the church and stood behind the coffin like all the other senior members of the royal family. Now, it is my opinion that she did not belong there. And all you need to do is to actually go look on Instagram, look on Twitter, look at Spotify, wherever you want to look. Look at the cut interview. And then you, maybe like me, will feel exactly the same. He did not belong there. It has now come out that they had 2 invitations to go see the Queen at Balmoral, and obviously had invitations before that we know about. And each and every time, because of Meghan Markle, those invitations were turned down. So she did not want to socially interact with Her Majesty the Queen before her death. That's the one thing. The other thing is that when you look at the cut interview, you look at her Spotify broadcast, and you look at all the other things she's put out over the last 2 years, and like I said to you in a previous video, Her Majesty the Queen saw everything we saw. So she put Her Majesty the Queen through absolute agony over the last 2 years, if not before and longer. So, taking all of that into consideration, don't you think, like I do, that it was utterly despicable and disrespectful to Her Majesty the Queen to have that woman stand in that procession with a fake expression of grief, which she could not even keep up, as she quickly let slip the mask and showed her duper's delight smile on a number of occasions. And I think that was just disgusting. I also find it extremely hurtful to all of us who had loved Her Majesty the Queen. Now, a lot of people come and tell me, oh, but it was unavoidable. That is utter rubbish. It was avoidable. Why did they allow Meghan in that procession? The excuses are, well, William had his wife there, Anne had her husband there, King Charles had his wife there. Well, those are weak excuses, my dear. Princess Anne's husband, Sir Timothy, used to be the Queen's equerry for a number of years. He had served the Queen in one way or another for all his life. until the day she died. King Charles's wife is now Queen Consort Camilla. William's wife is now the new Princess of Wales. They are all senior members of the royal family. They are also working members of the royal family. Oh, and then people come and say, yes, but Peter Phillips was there. Yes, because he was the eldest son of Princess Anne, and he had never deviated in his loyalty to the Queen. Princess Anne's daughter, Zara, and Mark Tyndall, her husband, were not in the procession, and they were the Queen's blood grandchildren. And neither was Eugenie and Beatrice, who sat to the side. Eugenie and Beatrice, who had shared time with Her Majesty the Queen, who had visited her in Balmoral each time she had been. We had seen photographs of them loading their children after visiting Her Majesty in Windsor. We saw that they spent time with her till her very last day, and never have either one of them spoken to the media and embarrassed the Queen. Not ever. So, if it was to be all the grandchildren and all the children of the senior members of the royal family, then why wasn't Zara and her husband Mark Tyndall and Eugenie and her husband Jack and Beatrice and her husband Edo not in that same procession? I'm asking you that. So no, there is no excuse. They could have turned around and said it was only close family members. That is what they could have done, which would have excluded Meghan Markle, it would have excluded Edo, and it would have excluded Jack and Mark Tyndall. They could have done that. But no, they excluded those people and included Meghan Markle. And that, my dear friends, does not bode well for the future of the monarchy, and I will tell you why. Because I have it on good authority that Tom Bower was 100% correct, and that Harry and Meghan are now pushing for his book to come out in November. And to add insult to injury, I had a tip as to what the book contains. And now I am going to give you a warning. This is a third-hand account. It comes from a subscriber who have a friend who was at an event or a function or wherever where the book was discussed, and a couple of mentions were made by someone from the publishing industry. And this person apparently talked about the book and had a good old laugh about it. So the friend of my subscriber got this information from someone who was at this function and were either part of this conversation or overheard the conversation. And what I'm told is this. Yes, there's a lot of what we already know in the book, a lot about Harry's childhood, a lot about his army days and his family in general, blah, 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 a lot of things we already know. There is about 40 pages on Princess Diana, which we also expected. And then, according to this person, like I said, third-hand account, a lot of shade is being thrown on Prince Charles, Camilla, and William. Some of it are direct accusations, and apparently some of it fairly damaging or hurtful. And some of it is by implication, all right? So meaning you have to read between the lines. But according to this person, the rumor that there are hurtful things about King Charles, Prince William, and Camilla in Harry's book is, according to this person, true. Then the person also told me that Harry only starts talking about his relationship with Meghan, starting about 2/3 into the book. So his story about him and Meghan only starts in like the last third of the book. She also told me that according to this friend who heard this from this person in the publishing industry, that the third portion, the portion about Harry and Meghan, is a very difficult read because it has all these long, tedious sentences, a lot of word salad, etc., etc. So the easy read, the entertaining read actually stops there. So it is my opinion, and I may be wrong, because I have not had a reply from Moringa's agent, but it is my opinion that there is something in the story that at some point Moringa was sacked or let go, and that the last portion about Harry and Meghan's relationship was likely written by the two of them, or then let's say by her, because according to this person, there is a definite change between the narrative of the first two-thirds and the last third. There's a change in writing style, etc., etc. In any event, according to my information, the book will come out before Christmas. Okay? End of story. The other piece of gossip that I heard is that, as we all know, Meghan's podcast has now been put off for approximately 6 weeks. According to the gossip that I heard, Meghan actually wants to edit or change some things in the pre-recorded episodes, and Spotify refused. They agreed to extend the actual playing time or the posts for approximately 6 weeks. But from my information and from what I hear, Spotify is indeed refusing to edit or re-record the pre-recorded podcasts. So we are likely to hear whatever shade, whatever insults Meghan incorporated in her pre-recorded podcast sometime in the future. Now, I don't know how many of these pre-recorded podcasts there are, but believe me, we are likely to hear all about it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the matter of the two children getting titles from King Charles. Now, with all due respect to the likes of Trevor Colt and other media outlets, I do not agree that King Charles will give these children titles, and here is why. In Britain, there was a thing such as the right of blood, which basically meant that British citizens having children on foreign soil, that their children will automatically have British citizenship. But that was abolished years ago. And lately or recently, unless you are working for a high commission or an embassy on foreign soil, British children born in other countries do not get automatic citizenship. Normal citizens of Britain having children on foreign soil will have to register their children at the British High Commission or re-register the children and apply for naturalization citizenship once they return to Britain. Now, if and when they do that, their children will automatically have dual citizenship of the country they were born in and Britain. And they will have to renounce their citizenship of the foreign country in order to only have British citizenship. Now, in America, it doesn't work that way. Americans who have children on foreign soil, their children automatically have American citizenship. Now, we know that Archie has dual citizenship because he was born in Britain and his mom is American. But Lily was born in America, so she automatically got American citizenship, but does not have automatic British citizenship. And to date, I have been unable to trace whether her parents, Harry and Meghan, had applied on her behalf for British citizenship. Now, regardless of whether both the children have dual citizenship, Americans cannot be gifted a foreign title, and both those children reside permanently in America. But that is not all, folks. Guess what else? Yes, both of them being American citizens and both of them residing in America are liable to pay American taxes. Now we know that the IRS are not anybody to toy with when it comes to paying your taxes. And what will happen if Archie and Lilibet are granted those prince and princess titles is that the IRS at some point in time will be able to scrutinize the royal family's finances, particularly if Archie and Lilibet receives income from the royal family as a prince and princess. And you want to tell me that King Charles would appreciate the IRS, the American IRS, scrutinizing his finances? I don't think so. The other thing is, you can also go and look at the American Constitution. Americans are not allowed to be gifted foreign titles, and that is that. But then we also look at the fact that, as far as we are aware, those two children's paperwork, their birth certificates, etc., are not exactly open to public scrutiny, is it? Which is completely unheard of when it comes to royal family members. We also know that there are certain discrepancies on the birth certificates that we saw, and none of it has been publicly corrected yet. So there is that. Now, only from what I have, and that includes email from the likes of the Archbishop of Canterbury's office, and many other emails and screenshots and documentation or copies of documentation, I personally may not have enough to prove that Meghan Markle did not birth either or both of those children. But I can promise you that I and a couple of other people have more than enough of these screenshots and copies and documentation and investigations and replies, etc., to at least warrant an investigation into their births. Now, such an investigation would not just mean an investigation into the circumstances of those two children's births, but would also mean an investigation into what the rest of the royal family knew in advance or shortly afterwards. Now, we all know that King Charles is not the most popular of the royal family members. Now, do you want to tell me that King Charles will welcome such an investigation into himself, and the rest of his family? I don't think so. But what I can promise you, although I'm a South African citizen and not British, there are a number of people who would appreciate me forwarding what I would call my file on these two children's births. And these British citizens would gladly call for an investigation into the births of these two children. I can promise you that. Then the other thing is the law as it currently stands still makes it very clear that in order to receive that prince and princess title, the children would have had to be born from the body. It actually states that in the law, from the body of the wife of Prince Harry or Prince Henry. And until that is adequately proven to the satisfaction of the public, those children cannot receive a prince and princess title. Their parents can call them whatever they want, but they will not be a British prince or princess. And as I'm sitting here, I may not entirely like King Charles as a person, but I've said this many times and I've said this before. Now that he is king, I, like the rest of the British citizens, will respect him as being king, because that is what the Bible tells us to do. But I do not think that his advisors would advise him to give those two children British titles at this point. I personally think it would harm his reign and it would harm the monarchy until such time as all these obstacles are actually ironed out and to the satisfaction of the public. Okay, my dear friends, I know some of you have been with me for quite a long time and you are probably sick of hearing this. But the other day there was again a comment about me not approving or liking the monarchy. And I was upset at first, but then I realized that a good 10,000 of you on this channel have not been here very long and have not heard me explain my position when it comes to the monarchy. And therefore, I just quickly want to reiterate what I said before. I actually approve of the monarchy. I love and adore the pomp and ceremony. I love the culture. I adore the traditions. I absolutely do. I just do not like every single person in the royal family. And I mean, most of us don't even like every single person in our own families. Having said that, I can tell you that I like William. I absolutely love Catherine. I have no issue with Camilla. I adore Sophie. I like Edward. I love Lady Louise. I absolutely respect Princess Anne. I honestly do. I do not like Prince Charles for numerous reasons. Due to all the things I've heard and read about him, I've never been a teenager dreaming of marrying a prince or a king. I never found him attractive. I do not like the way he speaks, and I do not like the way many people speak, or a number of people speak. I don't like their voices, I don't like their tone, and he is just another one of those people. However, I am not negative towards the monarchy. I would not have spent a lot of money during my lifetime buying books and all kinds of items related to the royal family if I did not approve of the monarchy. I would not have spent my time and money making these videos and talking to you about the monarchy. However, approving of the monarchy and liking or disliking someone in the royal family does not mean that I cannot criticize something they do or say if I do not approve or agree or like what they do or say. I criticize my own children from time to time when I do not approve of their conduct or their opinions or something they happen to do. It doesn't mean that I don't love them. So, whatever I bring to you, I often bring to you in order to try and preserve the monarchy we love, hoping that my criticism will reach the right ears and that it will be discussed in the higher echelons and that the members of the royal family will be more careful in future in order to preserve this culture and tradition for our children and for the future. Anyway, guys, so this has been a bit of a rant, and as I said, a complete unscripted rant. So please excuse the ums and ahs, and I'm actually in one of the front bedrooms at the moment, and the traffic is going past, and the dog's jumping on the bed, and so on and so on. But today I just do not have the will to sit down, make notes, and script a video. However, I do promise you that as from next week, after the funeral, I will be back with my usual content. And over the course of the week, I have obviously received emails, DMs with all kinds of tips and news and questions. And I will once again next week collect all these things, sort through it, do my homework, do my research, and bring you my usual material. So, guys and girls, until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.